Hi guys, welcome back to Till Vacuum Do Us Part. If you're new, my name is Ashley and I'm going to be sharing some of the top questions that I get asked about homeschooling. So if you want to hear those answers, then just stay tuned. Okay guys, if you're not following me on Instagram, if you're new, I'm going to leave my name right down here at the bottom of the screen. That's where I go and ask questions for my videos. So if I'm going to be doing a Q&A, like this one's homeschool, I reached out to you guys and wanted to know what you wanted answered. So I'm going to dive right into these questions. The first question's about homeschooling an only child, and I get that one a lot. And I don't know, it can make it easier, it can make it harder. Like, yes, Savannah doesn't have somebody to play with 24/7 because her friends are obviously in school and she has no siblings home, but there's also no fighting, and you know, like, kids tend to bicker, and just because you have siblings doesn't mean they play together. We just taught Savannah she can't really say I'm bored. There's too much to do in this house for her to be bored. So even make your kids like a visual list, tell them they can read, give them chores they can even help with to make money. We leave tons of papers and markers and paints and all that at reach for her so that she can craft, and you could change up that list every day, but just give them things at their fingertips so that they're not always asking you what to do, and provide those for them. And like I said, even like write it out if you need to so that they know what they can be doing. And also stretch homeschool out. Like, you don't have to cram it all into a short time frame and then have the rest of the day to do nothing. Sometimes that works. Sometimes you want to get it all done in the morning so you have all afternoon to run errands or whatever. So it's just all about making that work for you, but it's not a bad thing that they homeschool. And like, Savannah has dance and church and friends in the evenings when they get home from school, so she is like not bored by any means. What are the homeschool laws where you live? I live in Kentucky, so we have a few. We do not have any homeschool laws here, so that makes it really easy for us. I don't have to meet with a teacher. I don't have to provide anything. Now, for her to get into college, we will have to meet just like any other student would in public, Christian, private school, whatever. We will have to meet those. But as far as like third grade, I don't have to do anything. Also, do you use the same curriculum every year? Yes, starting, she did go to pre-K. It was like 3 days a week for like 2 or 3 hours, and then when it came kindergarten time is where we started homeschooling, and we started My Father's World, and we've really loved and enjoyed the program. I really thought about changing it up this year and kind of creating my own, but I got a little nervous, and I also found a way to buy My Father's World on sale, which I think that's a later question, so we stuck with it. So excited for this. Do you homeschool all year around? No, we definitely do not. I know families that do it and it works for them, but for us, I like to follow the school year. So like her neighborhood friends, we follow their schedule. So we start kind of right around the same time. They start on a Friday, so we'll wait and start on the Monday. And like when they take spring break, we take spring break. When they take Christmas break, we take Christmas break. So then she's able to play with them and just adapt to their year. Now, if they have one random day off, we don't take it. It's just easier for us to get it done, and then she can play afterwards. We do 4 days a week, and so if they're off on a Monday, we could take that day off, but then we don't have Friday off. We typically do school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So that's how we do that. We also don't take snow days because we're already snowed in anyways, but a little homeschool tip is we take pretty days. So when it's gorgeous and you just want to be outside, take those days, because public kids get snow days and we have the luxury of taking pretty days. So don't make it rigid. You can't do homeschool wrong. Do what's works for you, but we definitely take pretty days and like head out to parks, zoos, all that. Did you always know you wanted to homeschool? Not before kids. I don't think it's something I just always wanted to do. But as she grew up, and I think Savannah would do great in school. It's not anything like that. I think the world's changing. I think it's different. We are now in a smaller town than where we were when we had her, so I'm not completely against the idea. We take it year by year, and Savannah wants to homeschool for third grade, so that's what we're gonna do. That's what works best for our family. People want to know how we chose My Father's World and money-saving tips on doing it and any homeschool prep. So how did we choose it? I started asking. I'm very fortunate. I'm in an area that a lot of people homeschool, and that's kind of what started sucking me in. I took Savannah to a dance class, and it was already like God had already put a little seed in the back of my brain about it. And then like her entire class was homeschooled. So I was very lucky that I got to ask everybody something. And actually, I don't think anybody had chose My Father's World. You can actually go into, like, if you have a Mardell or any place that sells it, typically has like workbooks you can actually open up and look at and see if you're gonna like it. You can look at reviews, figure out what works best for you. Honestly, the reason we chose My Father's World is because it was 4 days a week and I was sold. I was like, done. If I can have Friday off, then I'll take it. Money saving tips. There's certain times of the year, if you're going to buy it brand new from the company, like My Father's World, if you buy it like right at the end of the school year, it's cheaper versus if I were to buy it now, like right before it's about to start. And those websites will have that listed, or you can email the company when's the best time to buy, but they do go on sale. I found in a nearby city a place that sells used sets, but then they add in like fresh paperwork, so all her worksheets are brand new. But I got the entire deluxe package that Savannah needed for like half the price, so I think it saved me like $200 and $250. So that was a lifesaver. I know if you're buying from like Mardell in the summer, they do specials on it, so you just kind of got to figure out what you want and then start asking around when there's sales on it, how to get it on sale. I definitely check Facebook homeschool groups in your area. I'm sure they would love to help you out. I have a degree in education and have thought of homeschooling. My biggest concern is advanced math and science. My son is entering 7th grade and is testing at 11th and 12th grade college level. That's awesome. Congratulations. How do you teach advanced subjects? So here's the deal. If it goes beyond, like, there's gonna hit a point where I can't teach Savannah algebra and stuff, but my husband's amazing at it. There's areas that like my dad's really good at, so I'm totally gonna like send her to different families to learn different things as she gets older. But you can also pay for classes. So there's co-ops, there's probably private schools in your area. Search that and you can pay just for one class. So if you want to send him to just advanced algebra or whatever class that is, or science. So there's like a biology class where Savannah has to like dissect a frog to be able to get that credit to go into college. I am not going to do that. So I will definitely just pay for that one class, and I think she'll just go once a week or twice a week, and that's how you'll get that credit. So definitely check that out. What age did you start? So we started in kindergarten. She did go to pre-K. How did you set everything up? And how many hours does one need to teach for homeschooling? And is it the standard 7 hours? So I feel like with every grade, it gets a little bit longer. Kindergarten was 30-45 minutes. First grade was, I'd say about an hour or so. And then last year it was taking about 2 hours. So I'm planning on this year, I'm assuming it's gonna take around 3 or more. I hear 3rd grade is kind of a turning point and it does like up your game a little bit. So it may take longer. How'd you set everything up? So as far as like how we set it up, when she was younger, we actually had, this room that I'm sitting in was actually the school room. And I thought when she was younger, it was helpful just because you're doing more crafts and hands-on and they're very visual, and I had it very colorful. But as she's gotten a little bit older, we don't need that. It's more like worksheets. We change it up throughout the week, throughout the year, just what's working for her. We've done it at the kitchen table. We've done it on the sofa. This year, I'm planning on doing it at my desk. I have that L-shaped desk where I can be working and getting things done for YouTube while she's working. This year, I'm gonna also push her to do a little bit more on her own because she is older, and if she was in school, she wouldn't have a teacher just sitting there like right next to her telling her exactly what to do. So I'm gonna start like a morning work where she gets up and reads and does spelling and maybe grammar, a few things that she can do on her own. Not that I'm not there if she needs questions, but just to like get herself kind of doing things on her, like by herself. And then I'm gonna do a few lessons with her. I think we're gonna break for lunch, and then maybe after lunch do math or a little bit of the more in-depth subjects just to break up the day. I don't know, every year's a little bit different and it changes as the years goes. And so I just want you guys to remember the whole point of homeschool is to be flexible. You don't have to be nervous. You're not going to do it wrong. Just because I do something a certain way does not mean that's going to work for your child. Definitely just play with it. Figure out, do they learn best in the morning or in the afternoon? We went through a season where Savannah did better after lunch. Like, she needed breakfast, she needed a playtime, she needed lunch, and then she was good to go. There's other times she's like, Mom, I just want to get it done, and we'll wake up, have breakfast, and get it going. I've personally learned I'm a better teacher and can help her better when I'm up and dressed for the day. So I try to get ready, but there was like kindergarten and first grade, I don't think I did. I think it was the very first thing we did because I did not want to forget to do homeschool or to get busy and not have time for it. So it's definitely the first priority in our house. But figure out just that system that works for you and change it and tweak it. If you're a parent, you've learned to adapt along the way. Your kids change, and that's what's nice about homeschool is you can adapt to them and figure out what works best, and then they learn best. But no, we've never taken the standard 7 hours ever. Ever, ever, ever. How much does it cost for everything? So this year, I think, because I got it used, it was about $200, but I do have to add on to that. I have to add on a spelling, grammar, and math, but the spelling and grammar are really, really cheap, and you can actually, if you want to, even print those out online. I just choose to get a workbook because it's easier. And then math, we always do Saxon math. I'll show you guys in like vlogs. I promise I'll start day in the lives with homeschooling. You guys are really wanting homeschool videos. We've just been on break, so there hasn't been anything for us to do, but I'll actually show you what all I bought too. I'm still missing a few pieces, is why I don't have it here with me today. I'm just starting pre-K homeschooling on Monday, and I'm super anxious about it. What did you start teaching your little one, and what techniques did you find worked best? So pre-K is easy. Do not overthink it. Work on like letters and numbers and colors. That's a really big year to work on sharing. You know, those are just little life lessons. I definitely wouldn't overthink it. You can even go to the dollar section in Target and buy the little workbooks and like maybe do a worksheet together, sit down to color together, play with Play-Doh, like do a lot of sensory things. But preschool's like, pre-K is like a fun, you know, I mean, you can start in the basics, but definitely don't overthink those younger grades. Make sure they know what they need to, and you can Google like, what does my pre-Ker need to know, and then just follow that list and make sure, just check it off as you learn it. And that's kind of what I do every year just to make sure we're staying on point. I also like to stay along with the school system, so if she ever would have to go in, she wouldn't be in shock. So we learn the Pledge of Allegiance. She learns she has to like raise her hand if she has a question. We've even, when she was little, had a bathroom pass, so if she needed to go to the bathroom. Now obviously she's old enough now, she could adapt to all that, but when she was little, I didn't know what we were doing the next year, and I wanted her to be prepared, so that may be something for you to do as well, but definitely don't overthink it, just let her have fun. What challenges have you faced, if any? So of course, I want you guys to know not every day is perfect, and not every day is hard. It's just like public school. There's gonna be some days you're probably happy to send your kids, and there's gonna be some days that you don't wanna send them and you wish they were at home. Most days I love having Savannah here. I laugh and tease with other homeschool moms. Sometimes like I'm chasing the bus down our street to like, will you take her? Oh my gosh. I love Savannah. Some days are hard, guys, and those are the days, if it's not working, stop. Start over another day. Like, you have that flexibility, and I have to remind myself all the time of like, I get to create this, and if it's not a day that Savannah's learning, throw in the towel and start over. Like, that's okay. I have friends that work at different things, like just between friends, and so she takes about a month off to prepare and sell and organize and all that, and then they catch it up the next month, and they'll like triple or double down their days. So this is completely whatever you want to make it, and you just literally get to do what works best for your family. That's what's amazing about homeschool. Do you think you'll homeschool through high school? I don't know. I try to take it 1 year at a time. I would like to. Every year that we finish, we just kind of regroup. I ask Savannah what she's thinking, what we did that she liked, what we did that she didn't like, what do we need to work on next year. I ask her if she wants to continue on. It's not fully her decision, but I like to know where she is. Like last night I asked her, are you still ready for homeschool? What would you think about public school? She loves being homeschooled. She loves it. So it's just honestly what works for us. So we'll do it as far as we can. Most likely I will. I feel like the other option is more like a Christian-based private school, and I really hate to pay those prices when I'm at home and I can teach her. So that's just kind of how we decide. How do you budget for homeschool? You can start saving back. It's kind of like how we do for Christmas or anything else. Make an envelope as you make money, as you sell items, as you have garage sales. Just start piling it away. You know, if you're homeschooling for that next year, you're going to need the money. And if for some reason you don't, win-win. You have an extra envelope full of money. So I would definitely prepare for it. And even if it's just like $5 a week or whatever, just kind of start throwing money in there, start a change collection. I mean, you guys can add it up pretty quick. It's not that expensive. You can choose expensive sets. I don't think you need them. I mean, ours works really well. This one says, I'm thinking about homeschooling my kids. My oldest is about to be 3, so I wanted to start with preschool this year and see how it goes. How did you know what to do and what worked best for you? It's called trial and error. Preschool I'm kind of iffy on. I feel like if you're going to homeschool, you may want to put them in for that just to kind of get them, like I kind of put Savannah in at preschool and pre-K so that she got used to playing with kids, and this is because she was the only child. You're saying you have 3, so you may not want to, but preschool is very, very basic. I would get a workbook. I once again Google, see what they need to know, and just slowly cover that. It's not going to be hard. You're not going to spend, I mean, probably 30 minutes a day going over stuff. Just play is a big thing, and it's just trial and error. You've just got to try something. If it works, great. If it doesn't, try something different. How in advance do you plan lessons? My Father's World plans it for me. So I literally get a book and it has week 1 and it has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it has for me what I need to teach every day, and it tells me what worksheet, it tells me what page to read. You know, I open it up and it says, say, good morning, welcome to school. Like, it tells you everything. This, you don't have to be a genius. Like, it tells you what to do and how to do it. I think people feel like they're not educated enough or not prepared enough. If you love your child and you can read a worksheet, you can do it. It's really not that bad. Guys, we have technology at our fingertips. All you have to do is Google it real fast and teach them. Like, it's okay to look at your child and be like, I don't know this, we're gonna learn it together. I have learned so much along the way, just like either by being reminded or like, oh my gosh, I never even learned that, or if I did, I forgot. And so I get to learn with Savannah, and it's incredible. I don't have to necessarily know more than her. We just have to be able to like grow and learn together. And so just use your resources, use Google, use friends and family. If you're learning something about birds and you know an aunt that loves to talk about them, like call and talk to her, FaceTime, go over there, like use people around you to educate. It doesn't have to be the structured sitting at a desk, like writing words out. Like, let them experience, and those are the best ways you can teach. Do you think homeschooling would be doable as a full-time working mom who works 3 12-hour shifts a week, or do you think it works best to not work? I think you can. If you have childcare for those days, that still means you have 4 days a week that you're home with them, and that's how many, like I do 4-day school weeks. So I think you can definitely do it if you want to. That's totally up to you. It's definitely possible. I mean, as long as you don't mind like working. I don't know how you come home and sleep, and I don't know the age ranges, but you really only, even as a 3rd grader, need about 3 hours max teaching wise, just because you're not doing, like, you don't count recess, you don't count lunch. There's a lot of like free time within schools, but the actual learning time. So I think you could absolutely do it if you wanted to. These are all very good ones. So let's start at the beginning. Did you homeschool from the start? Yes, kindergarten. Do you feel like you don't get any alone time? I didn't, and I got a little you know, it gets hard. So we do a nanny's day, which is Savannah goes to her grandma's once a week. And so we get homeschool done, and then I drop her off and I get that whole day. So now I'm definitely going to need that with YouTube to get work done, but that's fine. That's me time. But you can plan and just know after school she's going to go visit a friend's. Or if you have a friend that watches kids or is also homeschooling, like take turns with each other and give that mom a day off and you take her kid so you guys aren't paying for childcare, or vice versa. You can work it out, but you can get breaks thrown in there. Go to a park so your kids can just run and play, and you can just like think, you can come up with ideas, or go for walks, especially if they're in strollers. Like I felt like that's where I got a lot of quiet time, as I could push my daughter. Socialization, just that was my biggest fear, so I completely understand your husband having that fear. And it is like the last thing on my mind. Like that was my biggest fear. I prayed about it, especially with an only child. And just let me tell you, it's like, it's not even a thought. Like, don't even worry about it. That's not a reason to not homeschool. Unless you're just sitting in your house doing nothing. Okay, fine, be scared. But if you're a normal person that's like in and out of the house and, you know, going to play dates or going to the parks or going to church, like you're active. And honestly, in schools, most of the time they're telling the kids not to talk to each other. Like, yes, they get lunch, but even at lunch, I remember being told like not to get too loud. And if we did get loud, we couldn't talk the rest of the lunch. We had time playing outside after lunch, but that was it. In the hallways, we weren't really allowed to talk. When we were sitting at our desk, we weren't allowed to talk. So they're not getting socialized that much. And sometimes the socializing that they're getting isn't the best. Now, I'm not saying I survived public school and I'm just fine. So I'm not saying anything bad about it, but your kid will be just fine if they're homeschooled. This person's curious what I use and what schedule for both boys. So I'm going to cover this real fast. You know what we use, My Father's World. If you have multiples and you guys are interested, go to My Father's World, and there's a place you can plug in their ages, and it works it around so that you can teach different ages at the same time. So your older one may have to go into it a little bit deeper and may have to stay in school a little bit longer, but they incorporate it where you can kind of teach the same thing all at one time, just kind of at different levels. So I think that's really cool about the program. Okay, if you guys have any other questions that I missed or didn't answer, just go ahead and leave them down in the comments and I'd be happy to ask them for you. My homeschooling videos will be starting back up. I'm so excited to get the year going. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.